A new chapter in British boxing is about to be written. Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, two fighters born into legacy, stepping into the ring to continue the story their fathers began decades ago. Their rivalry is built on history, pride, and the echoes of a past that shaped the sport itself. But long before Eubank and Benn, before the bright lights and the world titles, there were warriors who fought not just for glory, but for respect. These were the pioneers, Britain's black prizefighters, who stepped into the ring against brutal odds, defying racism, oppression, and the bare-knuckle brutality of the 18th and 19th centuries. They may not be household names today, but without them, British boxing wouldn't be what it is now. This is their story. In the 18th and 19th centuries, bare-knuckle prizefighting wasn't just a sport, it was a battleground where men fought for honor and survival. There were no time limits, no weight classes, and often no rules. Fighters could go dozens, sometimes even over 100, rounds in a single bout, with matches lasting hours. Blood spilled freely, bones shattered, and only the toughest survived. But for many, boxing wasn't just about entertainment, it was a gamble. Huge sums of money were wagered on fighters, and winning a match could mean instant fortune or devastating loss. Yet for black fighters, the battle wasn't just in the ring. In a society built on racial hierarchy, they faced far more than fists. They were denied opportunities, barred from certain fights, and robbed of recognition, no matter how skilled they were. Even when they won, their victories were often dismissed or disputed. But some refused to be ignored. They fought harder, they fought smarter, and they forced their way into history. And none did it more famously than Tom Molineaux, a man born into slavery who would one day stand toe-to-toe with England's greatest champion. Tom Molineaux's journey to the ring began in slavery. Born in Virginia around 1784, he fought in brutal matches for his owner's profit. But unlike others, his victories earned him something greater, his freedom. Determined to prove himself, Molineaux migrated to Britain, the heart of prizefighting. In 1810, he challenged England's champion, Tom Cribb, in a fight that could change history. For most of the fight, Molineaux dominated. He knocked Cribb down and seemed to have won, until officials gave Cribb extra time to recover. Exhausted and injured, Molineaux fought on but was ultimately defeated. Cheated out of victory, his career spiraled. Poverty and alcoholism took hold, and by 1818, he died forgotten. But his legacy lived on, opening doors for future black fighters who refused to be counted out. In the brutal world of 19th-century prizefighting, where survival mattered more than skill, Jem Wharton stood out. One of Britain's first recognized black champions, he proved that technique could be just as deadly as brute force. Wharton dominated the ring in the 1820s and 1830s, earning a reputation for his endurance, footwork, and sharp counterpunching. He defended his title multiple times, but despite his talent, racial barriers kept him from the biggest fights. Many fighters refused to face him. Some promoters wouldn't give him a shot. But Wharton kept fighting, proving that black athletes belonged in the sport, long before the world was ready to accept them. Though history tried to overlook him, Wharton's legacy was finally recognized in 2012, when he was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame, securing his place among Britain's greatest warriors. In the early 20th century, another fighter crossed the Atlantic, Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champion of the world. When he visited Britain, he was a living symbol of resistance, proving that black fighters could dominate the sport at the highest level. But long before Johnson, black British fighters had already been breaking barriers. Warriors like Molineaux and Wharton, who fought for their place in history, even when the odds were stacked against them. Their legacy lived on through future generations. Fighters like Chris Eubank, Nigel Benn, Lennox Lewis, and Frank Bruno faced their own battles, both in and out of the ring. Racism, media bias, and doubters stood in their way. But just like those before them, they fought for respect, proving they belonged at the top. Boxing has always been more than just a sport. For black athletes, it has been a way to break barriers, to demand recognition, and to inspire future generations. These warriors paved the way for today's champions. Their battles were more than just physical, they fought for respect, equality, and a place in history. Their names should never be forgotten. Thanks for watching another Fresh K documentary. If you enjoyed this story of Britain's forgotten black warriors, Hit the like button, subscribe, and let us know in the comments, who's your favorite black British boxer of all time?